Wisconsin. It's our state, our home. In fact, nearly 5 million people live here. People who are proud to call Wisconsin home. Wisconsin's a large state when you compare its size to the other 49 states. But Wisconsin is small when you consider its population. New York City has over 3 times more people than the whole state of Wisconsin. But in terms of the amount of food it produces, Wisconsin is a giant. When the settlers moved west across the United States, most people made their living by farming. They found the fertile soil of Wisconsin to be an ideal place to raise families. Their farmsteads often supported just their own families and had a white house and a red barn, a few chickens, a couple pigs, a cow, and horses that worked in the fields. That's when nearly 8 out of 10 Americans lived on farms, and that was just 100 years ago. Today, fewer than 2% of Americans live on farms, but each Wisconsin farmer produces enough food and fiber for, on average, 250 people. That efficiency is what makes Wisconsin agriculture the largest industry in the state. But what is agriculture? Well, it's growing crops, caring for livestock, milking cows, processing milk into cheese, storing grain. It's transporting farm products to market. It's processing grain into corn syrup or fuel. It's helping farmers raise and sell their products. Why is Wisconsin such a great place to grow food? Number 1, the rich soil. It's deep and porous. It has the nutrients to grow good quality crops and hold rain, so that Wisconsin nearly always produces large amounts of crops. In fact, some of the best type of soil for crop production in the entire United States is located in Wisconsin. Number 2, the climate. Wisconsin has warm summers and enough rainfall for good plant growth. Number 3, the growing season. There are enough warm days from the beginning of spring to the beginning of fall so that crops reach full growth and maturity. And number 4, the people. The work ethic of Wisconsin's 80,000 farm families is well known across the country. They like their job, work hard at it, and are honest and friendly. Bob Meyer is the farm director for the Getz Radio Network, a statewide group, and he knows Wisconsin is a top agricultural state for many reasons.
Agriculture is a very important part of the economy. It just employs a lot of people. It is the largest employer in Wisconsin. More people are employed in agriculture and ag-related businesses than any other industry in Wisconsin. That means more people make their livelihoods off of agriculture than any other industry.
Wisconsin usually ranks in the top 10 out of all 50 states in the value of farm products. Alfalfa is our number 1 crop, followed by corn. We also produce soybeans, oats, and seeds for growing the nation's crops. Wisconsin has been the nation's leader in dairy production for years and produces over 1/4 of all of the cheese in the United States. We are ranked 8th in the nation for beef produced. In fact, over half of all Wisconsin farms raise cattle as one of their sources of farm income. But the state is also a major producer of sheep and lambs, turkeys, eggs from chickens, cranberries, and vegetables for canning. Most of the food produced here is not eaten in Wisconsin, but helps feed the millions of Americans who live in large cities, plus those who live in foreign countries, like Japan. In fact, Wisconsin is 20th in the nation in agricultural exports, which adds jobs and dollars to the economy. In Wisconsin, there are 80,000 farms, and the average size of each farm is about 211 acres. The Roach family of south central Wisconsin near Columbus has been farming and feeding cattle for many years. As with many farm families, Joe is now transferring the business to his own son, Kevin, and his family.
I'm excited about farming because I keep on learning new things. Right now we're using satellites on our tractors. We're using satellites in our office to keep on recording new information. I keep learning about new ways to feed cattle so they become more efficient. And I really enjoy it.
Farming is a way of life, and as long as we can have enough income to have a fairly comfortable living and take good care of the land, why, everything is going fine. Money is not my main objective. I think it's a way of living and a good place to raise children.
Who helps the 80,000 Wisconsin farm and ranch families like the Roches produce food for the nation and the world? Well, over 1 out of every 5 Wisconsin residents is employed in some job related to agriculture. They're employed in manufacturing and sales, making and selling tractors, wagons, and other farm implements, producing animal health products and chemicals to protect crops. They provide the specialized information that modern farmers need to be successful, like writing for a farm publication, farm broadcasting in radio and television, computer and satellite communications. And they also consult with Wisconsin farmers, helping them use new technology and services, and by analyzing soil, weather, and water conditions. They also repair the machinery that Wisconsin farmers use. And there are thousands of other specialized jobs that help the 80,000 Wisconsin farmers feed the world. What that means for Wisconsin's young people is that there are 1,000 different jobs in agriculture, even if you don't work on a farm. Dr. Alfredo Di Constanzo grew up in Mexico and received graduate degrees at the University of Minnesota. Today, he's on the faculty of the university as a professor in animal science.
Beef cattle and hogs have changed significantly from, say, 20 years ago. Today, because of the results of our efforts and applications of science to feeding and breeding practices, beef cattle and hogs are leaner. For instance, a model of a 1940 steer compared to a 1990 steer reflects that the 1940 steer shows overall more fat on him compared to a 1990 steer, which is more muscular. This means that as you go to the grocery store, the beef you buy is about 27% leaner, and the pork you buy would be about 31% leaner. This means that the diets you eat are healthier.
Science and technology has also allowed farmers to be better stewards of Wisconsin's precious soil and water resources. Jeff Gerard of Spring Grove recently received a national award for his environmental stewardship practice.
I think that environmental stewardship and production, they do go hand in hand. If you take good care of your land and treat it properly, it's going to produce for you, and it's not going to wash away, and it'll always be there.
The Gerard family has both hilly and flat land, and it uses the land for different purposes. In Wisconsin, hilly land is used for grazing cattle, sheep, and dairy cows. The grass that grows on the hills helps conserve the land by preventing soil erosion. The areas that are flat are used to grow crops. Flat ground holds the water better and tends to be more fertile. Cattle are moved to these areas to be fed during the sometimes long and cold winters. Farmers support thousands of businesses in small towns across the state. Businesses that employ people who support our state's economy. Businesses such as banks that provide financial services like mortgages and loans for buying new equipment or livestock or building new barns. Farm equipment dealers who repair and sell farm equipment and parts. Veterinarians who keep farm animals healthy and treat them when they are sick. Elevators that buy grain and sell feed for livestock. Businesses that create new products from the products Wisconsin farmers produce, like ethanol and protein supplements. There are no two farms in Wisconsin that are exactly alike. Each of Wisconsin's 80,000 farms is an individual business, like Hunsinger Farms, which raises a unique product, horseradish, then processes and packages it for sale. Horseradish is a condiment used to enhance the flavor of various foods. It's used much like mustard, ketchup, and other spices.
My name is Bill Nelson, and I'm president of Hunsinger Farms Incorporated. We're the world's largest grower and processor of horseradish products, and we've been doing this for 67 years. In addition to horseradish, we raise forage crops, corn, soybeans, and beef cattle.
I'm Gene Heinz from Hunsinger Farms. I'm the farm manager and have worked here for nearly 50 years. This is a kind of a poor plant, but it gives a sample of what horseradish really looks like. This is the plant that was planted last year. It should be a little bit bigger, but we're right on the end of the field, and so it probably didn't get fertilized as well as it could. This is what the plant looks like that we plant in the spring or in the fall. Horseradish is a real tough plant. It can, this won't get froze until the temperature gets down to about 20 degrees. But boy, it's good on meats and stuff like that, you know. But these things are planted back in the ground, and all this stuff gets ground up. And then it goes through our plant and is bottled. And hopefully everyone certainly eats a little horseradish.
I'm Ken. I work with Huntsinger Farms. I've been employed with the farm for the past 30 years. I've managed the cattle operation for the past 14 years. I enjoy working outside, and I enjoy working with the cattle, watching them grow. And when the young calves are born, it's a thrill to watch them get up and watch that calf grow throughout the year.
I'm very proud to be in this business called agriculture and be in a position to provide security and employment for our many employees.
Farmers are proud of their heritage and love working outdoors. Sometimes the workday lasts from before sunup to well past sundown. But are there other challenges facing the farmers today? You bet. It's not an easy profession. Governments, local, state, and national, are imposing more rules on how farmers grow crops and raise livestock. Oftentimes that leads to more paperwork, more trips to town, more phone calls, and more work. In some areas of Wisconsin, the cities are growing out into the country. New houses and strip malls now stand where farm fields used to be.
Our family has farmed in this area for 4 generations, over 100 years. And as we have been here, the Twin City metropolitan area has grown and come out to meet us and is now developing around us as new homes are being built all around us. It causes added pressure for us, as with land values and so forth. We as farmers try to be good neighbors.
And so when new people move in right around us, right next to the property where we farm, where we grow corn and hay for our cows, we get to know our neighbors, and we have to be real careful about when we run machinery, what time of the day, because they're running their household, and when they're home in the evening, they're probably wanting it more quiet. They don't necessarily want to hear tractors and loud machinery. Living here on the farm has great challenges, but it's a lot of fun.
Farming in Wisconsin isn't just corn and soybeans or cattle and hogs. It's also fruits and vegetables at fresh produce markets. Pick it yourself strawberry farms, greenhouses filled with potted plants, cut your own Christmas tree farms. Wisconsin agriculture is indeed very diverse. There are still traditional farmers and traditional farm families, but there are also specialized farms and specialized jobs to help farmers. It takes more science, more math, more business management to be successful in farming today.
Nowadays, we don't wear bib overalls anymore. A lot of times we wear a suit and tie to get the job done. We spend a lot more time in the office. We do a lot more technical things than nowadays. It takes like a college education now to run a very efficient farming operation.
I'm part of this industry called agriculture because I enjoy it. And I can't think of anything more important than to raise quality food for people.
When I was young and growing up on the farm, I didn't think I would be a farmer. But I sort of got involved because my dad needed help, and I'm glad that's the way it happened.
Hundreds of thousands of farmers like the Roches and the Huntsinger farms are proud to be producing food for millions of Americans and other hungry citizens across the world. And you can be proud too. Even though you may not live in a farm, you share in Wisconsin's heritage as a major food-producing state. And you have lots of opportunity to be a part of Wisconsin's proud tradition. A tradition that is one of the greatest success stories of our time: agriculture.